Welcome, beautiful divine masculine and feminine darlings. This is the Seraphim Gem Gypsy, SeraFae Indigo Empress, and Shiloh Horizon. I don't plan to be here for too long, but I do have a little reading to do. Let's do this one. Please feel free to grab some water to hydrate. I've also got a kombucha right here. Welcome. All right, let's start with this. I also just heard Imperial and Imperial armor. My daughter is actively being held hostage, so unfortunately, which is why I've been speaking on it. While she's been held hostage, I have not been seeing her. They've been illegally kidnapping her, and that is why I whistleblow. Then that's why the slander and all the attacks too, that's their attempt to distract from the truth and cover it up. So that's their issue. And they'll be going to prison for it. All of them. Including the main person, the main toxic, abusive male who I'm picking up thinks this is so funny right now. But he's probably facing the most charges out of all of them. Or at least one of the top. Relating to an empire. So how is she doing? Not well. She'd be doing better if she had her mom. She'd be doing better if she had a safe space to heal and wasn't continually exposed to abuse of all kinds, including sexually, unfortunately, but that's what has happened. So, and just like they've tried to blame me for the injuries that they've caused, they've also tried to either blame her or me, blaming me for the way that they hurt both of us. Or just saying we were always like that. No, that's not true. And there is, well, empirical data also to prove that. Speaking of empirical. Empirical data or evidence is something that's based on or concerned with verifiable observation or verifiable evidence rather than just a theory or pure logic. Now, they try to smear campaign me as a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not speaking theory, I'm speaking fact that's already been proven. They've just been trying to bury it like the DuPont chemical spill scandal. And it wasn't a chemical spill, it was intentional. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of, this is why I speak, you see. And this was the Imperial reference. So I heard regal. She's so regal. Define regal. It's royal, basically. Very high status, resembling a monarch, fit to be a queen, especially being magnificent or, hi babies, dignified. A noble dignitary. Hi babies. And a little huggy. Huh? Is that you that smells so good or me? I think it's me. Because I'm pretty sure you don't normally smell like flowers. No, that's me, but I love you. You cute boy. Oh, he's such a cutie boy. So, dignified, regal. Imperial, also meaning relating to an empire. So basically I'm being likened to a queen. Okay. I also heard Imperial Armor. It was a reference of a royal armory, royal protection, like this, battle armor. The Holy Grail here. Sorry, not to make you guys seasick. But when I looked up Imperial Armor just to find a definition, the first thing that popped up was the game Skyrim, which I've heard of it before in passing. I knew what it was when I saw the title of the game, but I'm not really familiar with it other than really just that. However, it says in this game, Imperial Armor is a set of heavy armor that appears in the Elder Scrolls versus Skyrim. And you know what? Last week I also heard something about the Elder Scrolls, and somebody was saying something in relation to me about this. I still don't really understand that, but the download that I got on it was basically they're saying that I am just this walking, well, basically a walking Akashic record. I'm just this walking vessel of information. I have codes and pieces of context information, understanding that a lot of other people do not. That's what they were saying. That's the hot goss about me right now. She knows so much. She knows too much. Pretty much. She knows what we don't. Pretty much. I thought it was a little funny, but I let that go. Let's look that up. Elder Scrolls. I tried to do a quick search. It says it's a mystical tomes of knowledge that told of past, present, and future. Well, that's the Akashics, and I do read past life stuff, present energy, and also future potentials. Depending on free will, of course, but also aspects of destiny path. It's one of my gifts and my skills is to read soul contracts. It's just there. It's coding. I just pick it up. So that's that. It says Elder Scrolls are artifacts of unknown origin and quantity, and that was the thing that she just knows all this stuff we don't know. How does she do this? Gosh, she's magical. Pretty much is what they were saying. Being simultaneously archives of historic past and future events. I would say present also. So there's that. That's how I know what these people did, what they've been thinking about doing sometimes before they do it, and also what they're presently plotting on currently. You see. I also, when I checked into the Imperial Armor, it said that, I think in the Skyrim game it was referencing, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, it says that usually members of the legate or how do you say that? What was that? Legate, okay. Members of the legate, otherwise known as the clergy, or some kind of religious constitute like the Pope or Cardinal. And so there again is a reference to somebody who has this holy wisdom that they just couldn't possibly comprehend, pretty much. In summary. Yeah, see, look, I split the deck, the alchemist. How does she do that? You know what is funny about this is one of my nicknames. He's probably about 70 years old now. Got an email from him a few weeks ago or a few months ago. It's this old man who spent a good portion of his life traveling Asia. He knows multiple languages. He speaks multiple dialects, certainly and especially Asian varieties of them. Some of them fluently, some of them more than others. But when I say speak some, he can also read, and I believe write in all of them too. He's very studied. And he calls me Dragon Lady, interestingly enough. So anything else? Partnership. Okay. So there are allies coming through for the light workers. There was also a reference of Joan of Arc that came up this morning, and that's precisely what Joan did. It's It's like me as ENFP campaigner who has the ability to bring people together for a good cause. You see, even the civilians of the town strapped on battle gear and went to war for Joan. They did not show up for the military. They showed up for Joan. So while it might have been the military's army, they only had enough people to fight because they showed up for Joan. They showed up for me. Oh, and just like Despicable Me wrote, I'll let you listen to this. Initially, they changed my name. Instead of putting our real names in there, they used the name The Smiths, just an anonymous name, but this is our story. Oh, good. Gaining more subs now. Good, good. Okay. Van Horn. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Despicable Me News Break. I am Vanessa Drake. In today's report, another victim...
Vanessa Drake is another fake name, but...
Robert Van Horn's reign of terror speaks out. Here is the story. Some names have been changed to protect those involved. In the small town of Hancock County, nestled within its quaint streets and seemingly peaceful neighborhoods, lurked a shadow of corruption that tainted the very fabric of justice. At the heart of this darkness stood Robert Van Horn, a lawyer whose name had become synonymous with deceit and manipulation. For 8 long years, Robert Van Horn had waged a relentless legal battle against one family, the Smiths, echoing the notorious Vladimir Miller case that had rocked the community years prior. The Smiths' ordeal mirrored the horrors of the past, as they found themselves ensnared in Van Horn's web of frivolous litigation and treachery. With each passing year, the Smiths' faith in the legal system dwindled as they bore witness to Van Horn's insidious tactics. He wielded perjury like a weapon, fabricating facts and concealing evidence to secure hollow victories in court. Behind closed doors of the family court, Van Horn preyed upon abuse victims, exploiting their vulnerabilities to serve the interests of his criminal clients. But the Smiths refused to be silenced or intimidated. They stood as a beacon of resilience against Van Horn's tyranny, determined to expose the truth and seek justice for the atrocities inflicted upon their family. Their resolve only strengthened when Van Horn attempted to tear them apart financially, emotionally, and even physically, yet amidst a glimmer of hope emerged. The district attorney, recognizing the depths of Van Horn's deceit, dropped the fabricated charges brought against the Smiths. The veil of corruption began to unravel as the community rallied behind the family, united in their quest for accountability and reform. Armed with unwavering determination, the Smiths embarked on a new chapter in their battle for justice. They vowed to hold Van Horn accountable for his crimes, to expose the corruption festering within the Hancock County Court, and to ensure that no family would suffer under his reign of terror again. As the wheels of justice slowly turned, the truth emerged from the shadows, illuminating the path forward for the Smiths and all those who had been wronged by Van Horn's malevolent machinations. Though the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty, the Smiths marched onward, fueled by the conviction that in the end, truth would prevail and justice would be served. The good news is, if you or anyone you know has had Robert Van Horn as a court-appointed attorney, you already have a valid bar complaint for inadequate counsel at the very least.
Yeah, that's true. So
Van Horn has victimized enough people. Please help disbar Robert Van Horn and stop his reign of terror by filing bar complaints for every violation he uses to screw you over.
Yeah, he needs to be stopped, and that is correct. But that's our story. They made the post initially without asking me, and so didn't want to put our names in it. I've since given permission, and I will tell you that was about us. That's about my daughter and I. I mean, initially the names were kept out, I think, to protect us, but the reality is that's exactly how we were hurt. They can't do it this way, or there are people who figure out what's going on and seek to hold them accountable if the truth comes out. That's why they tried to bury it. So while I do appreciate and respect that initial attempt to protect my privacy or safety or whatever it is, No, the truth coming out about it actually helps me more. The truth coming out about it actually protects us more because it means that the abuse has to stop and justice can finally be served. Amen. End of discussion. 1522. Look what just popped out. It's joy for the light workers. Turn your face towards the sun and let the shadows fall behind you. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Feelings and emotions. So honor your feelings, especially about these tense situations, for sure. Just don't stay there. But what I have been picking up, the water fairy, is these karmics, while they've been, a lot of them, mad, the last couple of rounds they've been mad, they retaliated and attacked out of that anger, and now, since that's not working and they're in more trouble for doing so, they look even worse for trying. Now they're getting sad. Now they're feeling quite defeated and, really, you were just attacking out of anger a minute ago. Stop playing the victim that you're not. 1622. Okay. Unstable. Aren't they? Cheers. Strawberry fields forever. So let's crack the tarot, shall we? My darlings. See what that has to say. I do want my music back on though. Okay. Let's see. Few cards hit the deck. All right. Oh, okay. So, 5 of Wands in reverse. All right. So there's an emphasis of karmic people being jealous of divine feminine and wanting to attack. But it might not just be divine feminine, but they're jealous of the light workers and wanting to attack. Except there is no competition, and I think I said that in one of the last posts. There is no beef. These people see something that we have or that we've built, and they get jealous and try to copy or compete. But at that point, they're just trying to steal what someone else has already built and then fight them for it. They're trying to fight people for their own creations. Pretty wild. So there's this. But they wanted to compete where there was no competition. I mean, like, you're copying somebody. There's no competition there. You're copying someone. But do you think you can compete with them? There's no comparison. You're copying them. Stepping on somebody's toes requires being in front of them, but you're copying someone. You're behind them. You can't have it both ways, but they tried. So their attempt to stab people in the back and play this imaginary beef, yeah, that failed. That didn't work. And then now they look stupid and they're in trouble for it, frankly. They tried to come after a true high priestess empress, and I did mention that in the last post. A real mystic, one of the last posts. I'll link those community board posts in the description. And also, now Divine Masculine knows what's going on. How does he know? Because I let him know with screenshots. He's even got some screenshots that I haven't, can't, and won't post here. Oh. hold the antibiotics because your videos are viral. That's funny. Ain't I so fucking disrespectful that you're so rude? You called me out for stealing from you. You're so mean. Okay, boo-hoo. Petty little brats. Right, trying to compete with the Empress. No, you little monkey, stay out of there. Heard that? No. You stop. Okay. Yeah, see, they wanted a conflict. Oh, but it all got exposed. You see, because there was nothing honest about them. Like I said in one of the last posts, you know, copying everything that I do, trying to pretend like you're making up a fantasy character when you're literally modeling it after me. My name, my story, my real life, what I wear, what I do. It's not a original character or OC as they're trying to call it. That you're copying my real life, and it's not a fantasy for me. It's crazy. But anyway, that's what happened. So there's no divine support here. It was dishonest. And I said that's what it is. Trying to call something an original character while you're legitimately copying someone else's authenticity is just dishonest, frankly, and it's also not legal. Yeah, I'm a Gemini, though. And a Heyoka, so I don't mind that. Giggles are good. Smiles for miles, giggles for days. I like freaks, I don't care if you're a wild one. Yep. Very immature, and then lied. This was impulsive, this was dishonest. And it all got exposed, the Hermit in reverse, you see. They did this for money. It was greedy, but now they're taking losses because of it. Why? Because I heard that. I'm so sorry. Shh. In reverse, the King of Wands is a bully. Aggressive, even passively, and I did call that out in the last post. Ignorant and arrogant as well. And this was to get handouts. This was to get some kind of opportunity. Like they saw maybe that somebody living their life was lucrative or successful for that person, so they thought that they would copy that person. I'm getting a vision though, and this is exactly what it is. I have copyrights and trademarks in place, and I have. So what this is like is going and seeing that a restaurant or a business is lucrative in town, and then saying it's doing well, meaning lucrative, successful. And so they say, oh, I want to do that. So they copy everything that that business is doing, but unfortunately they copy their name and their color spectrum or whatever the situation is, all the little details, because they think that it will make them successful since it's made the person who's originated it successful. But that is against the law. 2422. And that's what they did though. And now they're confused. Now they don't know which ways to go. Feeling all caught up, stuck in their heads. Because they've been caught. They're in trouble. They're taking losses for it as well. Yeah, joy came out upright for the light workers, but it's in reverse for these people. Their so-called stability is being disrupted, and it's because they tried to build their so-called stability on the backs of other people. I mentioned this in one of the posts this morning. When you try to build on other people, using them as stepping stones, you will eventually lose your balance, especially when they get back up and dust their shoulders off. And then, because every time I say that, I pick up karmics saying, well, I'll just keep trying to kick them and bury them and beat them into the ground. I'll pour cement over them. And then God will haul them up and put you in their place. I don't believe in God. It doesn't matter. Quantum law believes in you. Karma misses no beats, no deadlines, and if you change, it will get a copy of your address. If you move, it will get a copy of your address. If you can't beat them, join them. No, you tried to beat us. We don't want you to join us either. It's a VIP club. You can't sit with us. You tried to compete. Those of us at the top are too busy collaborating to compete. See ya. So there was that. But then you have, dear, why did I do that? Because you were silly and sneaky and you thought you'd get away with it. You thought you gained something from it. Why are you like this, though? I've got a good question. I can read anything or anyone. I'm just reading on this current energy right now. My music stopped, so the laptop needs a charge. See, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Wheel of Fate. They tried to force destiny. They tried to snatch something that was someone else's and claim it for themselves. Very dishonest. Come on, baby. So the Princess of Pentacles also came out. Which is indicative of somebody living in La La Land, or grandiose delusions and obscure ideas that can only get you so far. So I'll pull on some energy on that in a minute, but let's just let these cards play out the way they are in a minute, and then I'll focus on how to shift and heal into positive energy. So living in La La Land, or Delulu Land, which I also called these, hi baby kitty, plagiarizer energies out earlier for too. It's not like making a whole fantasy OC character out of someone's real life isn't it, and that's also not original. Original character. Do you even understand the definition of original? It means the first person who created it, and if you're copying someone else, whether it be pretending like you're making a fantasy character after their real life essence or otherwise, especially when I've branded my whole essence, my whole existence, my whole business off of transparency and authenticity, well, it's not original. And again, it's not honest or authentic. Hi, baby kitty. Just a good boy. I love you, honey. So obscure ideas that can only get you so far. They thought that by copying and stealing and taking shortcuts to, again, like toe step or compete with people for their own benefit was a way to quickly get up, but actually that costs them more. I'm being told to keep him off screen right now for a few reasons. Hi, my lovey. You want up or down? Mostly just to keep everybody safe. But I'll probably be on screen later. And if they wanted to get up, that's fine, but I'm not going to put them on screen. Oh, no, that's not appropriate. I'll block you if you play that one with me. Especially as a sexual assault survivor and somebody who started the live feed talking about that. You don't play. No, that's not funny. That's gross. It's not a joke. I don't find that comical at all. And this is not the right place to be speaking that way. Yeah, I don't like that at all. You know my Divine Masculine watches my live feeds, right? My future husband watches my live feeds, right? And I just picked out that he saw that. First his jaw dropped and then he went into protection mode and is not very happy with you. And frankly, I'm not either. Okay, so there's that. I sent him messages on Instagram this morning. I sent him screenshots and he's the only person who heard from me this morning. Okay. Misplaced priorities. Speaking of, living in La La Land, obscure ideas that can only get you so far. So those things, those were not good choices. Maybe they thought that they were going to take a couple of shortcuts, but that actually costs them everything they thought they were going to gain, and then some. And I'll get into that momentarily. Back on track. Yeah, 6 of Cups. So you know my Divine Masculine's watching, right? Like I said. Or will be on the replay. So again, these people are stuck in their heads. They're spooked. Now they don't know what to do. They know that they're in trouble. Some of these people might not want to get out of bed. Because their reputations have been ruined. They've been caught as thieves and liars, for starters. And they're feeling quite heartbroken. But remember that that's what they wanted to do to us. That's how they wanted us to feel. In my case, there was somebody who wanted to copy what I was doing, steal my work, try to take credit for it, put their name on it, and then try to battle me, aggressively battle me for my own creations. And then when that didn't work, now they're crying, boohoo, victim. She's mean because she's calling me out. No, you're abusive and a criminal because you're a thief. I wouldn't have had anything to call you out for if you weren't breaking the law and just frankly being unethical. Okay? And so these are people who were doing this because they were getting attention from people. They were making money off of doing this, and they were getting brand deals and business partnerships and stuff by copying my work and selling my work. And so now, because I've informed their so-called business partners or people who were at least giving them an opportunity to be attached to the brand, get discounts, get commissions for anything sold, etc., some kind of brand partnership or deal. I've let the people who were investing in them, I've let the companies know who this person is and what they've been doing, and that the content that they've been posting that these companies like so much is mine, and I gave them evidence to show that I am the originator of it. So I'm not expecting or asking these companies to suddenly come work with me, not at all. If they wanted to, that's their choice to reach out, but that's not what I'm not looking for that or expecting that. What I do want them to know is that they're dealing with a grifter, and nobody should be making money or getting any attention off of me and my work. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. Listen, no. Nobody should be getting anything off of my hard work. And they won't. And that's why I'm speaking the truth on it. So, there is that. Anything else? Yeah. Divine Masculine said, I saw that. I'm coming, Divine Feminine. Thanks for speaking the truth. I know you think you're just charging ahead and, you know, you've got to speak and you're all on your own, but I'm over here. I'm watching. I see what's going on. I'm keeping an eye out on the kids and the situation. I see what's going on. I see these people behaving like little brats too. These karmics. I see it. I see. And in the very first card that I pulled out, remember? It was a knight with a holy grail cup in it, and there it is in his hand, the goblet. Oh, 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 and there he goes. It's giving air sign with the falcon. Also, Freya. Thank you very much. Freya. Thank you very much. Lineage. Bloodline. So your attacks failed, and they always will. Toodles. Yeah, I'm a star. I know you hate that. But justice is coming, and it's mine. This is a Libra card. My daughter's a Libra. You've got the owl here. Also, wisdom. See? 3622. It's a wavy little bitch. Make him seasick. I think it's a Russ song. Hey, it's not for you to hear you, little monkey. I got this for you. This one. Come on. It's right here for you. This one. Do you want some valerian? Hold on. Catnip, catnip. Got two kitties and they like catnip, but we like valerian here. Catnip, catnip. Where is the valerian? There it is. Come on. Got you, boo-boo. He's right here for you. He's a happy baby. Look. One right there. And one right. Whoops. There. All for you. Just for you. Go ham. I need to smoke too, actually. These are my, it's her name. This is my ancestor, my royal bloodline. This is Freya. It's the matriarch, the original, the goddess. Really an incarnation of myself, thank you. 3822, and so it's my name, in fact. And when these karmics call on her to attack me, they're calling on me to attack me. It's not very smart. And I do still carry that bloodline today. So, you see, I heard that badass. Yeah, well, and it's just her language. It's my name in another language from that life. And I anticipated these weirdos being problems because I got the call to put on my battle armor again yesterday. Okay, so then you've got, look, the Chariot. They do not have divine support. But I do. And I said this the other day. You cannot keep poking the bear and expecting her not to roar, especially when you woke her up out of hibernation. And I did say something like that this morning. Or no, wasn't it Divine Masculine that said that? The beast in her was sleeping, not dead. Yeah, he did. He said that, I don't know, an hour or two ago. Good call, babe. Heard that. Yep, it's in the description box. No, it's in the community tab. I'll link it in the down bar when I'm done. But you see, the divine saw that and said, no, you leave my mama bear alone. You will not push her into having to be a mama bear and then try to blame her for being a mama bear. You should have left her alone in hermit mode. She was peacefully content on her yoga mat, chilling in general, and also with her cubs, and you decided to disturb the peace. Boo, that's on you. No new starts for you. That was devilish. That was not a good choice at all. Okay. So then what else? Hermit. Yeah, they tried to hide the fact that they were being manipulative, or they made somebody who was really, look, I posted about that earlier too, the wolf. They made somebody who was peacefully content in just quietude, as a zen space, come out and have to use their brain power to write down all of the nonsense that was going on. And that's what I did. She thought she was going to be nasty and compete with me for my own stuff that she was stealing. No, I'm just going to tell the people you're trying to sell it to what you're doing. And so they don't have to work with me, but they won't work with you anymore. Toodles. And she knows that too. It's why she's sweating. Because they will not work with her anymore. They see that she was manipulative to get handouts and it wasn't hers. I heard that. Well, will they want to work with you? I don't know. Probably. But I'm just kicking it over here by myself. I wasn't planning to come on screen. But here I am, I can. Don't push. I'll show up. Freya. Cheers. Let's pack a bowl. Apology accepted. And thanks for that. Ain't I so fucking disrespectful? It's Alexander energy. Who's Lewis? Alexander. I think it's Lewis. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness gracious. This song, I have to give a shout out here. So underrated. This account has 2,098 subscribers. It looks like, where's this? 2K. Maybe almost 3,000 subscribers if I'm reading this correctly. Patience, I heard that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is less than 3,000. And this particular song only has 10,000 views. It is wildly underrated. And there are 4 comments, only 4 comments in this video section. One of them being mine from 6 months ago, where I said specifically, this is underrated AF. And I'm here to tell you that it still is. Please. You can't fuck with my energy. I'ma make noise in the streets, please. All the fake love you can keep, peace. You can't fuck with my energy. Listen to the drop. Oh, sweet dreams, Adonis. Powder your nose. Ain't I so fucking disrespectful? Okay. I'll link that in the description box too. But let's see. Yeah, see, the messages of truth and genuinity went out. And then the people who were working with these karmics, because they thought that they were us, that realized that they were just copying us, yeah, these people are walking away from them too. Or these people that thought that they would try to combat us for our own stuff, yeah, no, they're being forced to walk away with their heads hung now. Because people who wanted to work with them, thinking that them copying us was who we are, they don't want to work with those people anymore now that they know they're fake. They're frauds. They're just plagiarizing someone else, and they're liars to boot. Not authentic. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. It's good business practice not to work with people like that. It's just good human nature in general. Self-care. We don't argue with idiots. That is self-care. Okay, so for the light workers who experienced this, we get a rebirth energy here. There's rest and recovery happening, or that will be happening. I don't have that turned on. Thought there was a glare that shouldn't be there. So what did I do? I spoke up about what was going on, for example, and kept building, which is what the divine supports. True Queen of Wands, somebody who can actually genuinely build and manifest, right? The originator, which is that which people have continued to try to copy and take credit for. But no, see, Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine are being carried to calmer waters here together, because this situation is being alchemized by those who have the strength to do it. In this case, that would be me. Alchemist. To put a death to these dead cycles and situations. And that includes the truth coming out, putting a halt to these people making gains off of the backs of other people, you see? And the resurrection of those who were used as stepping stones. Toodles. Perfect timing. It's almost Easter, isn't it? Sunday? 2 days? Ain't I so fucking disrespectful? No, you. Boo. Okay, let us see, shall we? They're scared. Divine Masculine says, can you blame them? I mean, I wouldn't want to be on your shit list either. No, not really. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be on my bad side, so I don't blame you, either of you. Don't put yourself there. It's very simple. Be honest. Don't be an ass. Leave people the fuck alone when they tell you to mind your business and, you know, respect their boundaries. For starters, it's very simple. Just be a decent human being and we're probably going to be fine. If you can't beat them, join them. No, we're good. No. If you try to beat me, you will not be able to loop back around to join me once you realize that you couldn't beat me. Do you hear how I'm going to try to conquer you, and when I can't conquer you, I guess I'm going to try to join you because it's better. No, you stay over there by your freaking self. We don't need ops on the inside. You don't let, those people are not your people. If you can't beat them, join them. No, those aren't frenemies. Those are enemies. Okay? And you don't let frenemies, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. No. You don't want your enemies on the inside because that's where the people that you do love are. You're letting them closer to the things and the people that you love. Do you hear yourself? No. If you can't beat them, join them. No, because those are the ones that if you do let them on the ship, they couldn't sink it from the outside, so now they want to join you and be on it. No, they'll try to sink it from the inside, and then you'll all go down. Those are the same people who will not help you row after they try to sink the ship just because they couldn't be captain. Instead, while you're trying to bail the water out and plug the holes, they will drill more holes and sit there not rowing, not bailing, but complaining that you're not doing it fast enough when they're the ones who drilled the holes in the first place. I'm not playing that game. And frankly, every assassination attempt, every royal assassination attempt pretty much comes from the inside or from ops on the outside looking to use someone on the inside to do it. I'm not playing that game. Did you know, in fact, that that's why royal kings hired people to taste their food before they ate it? It wasn't to make sure it tasted good. It was to make sure that it didn't have poison in it. And so they would pay these people to test all of the king's meals before the king could actually take a bite. And if that food tester didn't roll over and start suddenly seizing from whatever poison somebody had slipped into the king's dinner that night, then the king knew it was safe to eat it. But if the food taster died suddenly or got very sick suddenly, well, I guess the king knew that that wasn't safe food, but what about the food taster? Okay, so given that, every good true royal knows that most assassination attempts come from the inside or someone looking to pay someone on the inside to help them get the job done. I'm not playing that game. Hi, babies.
It's just a cutie pie, but I need my hands from it. Oh, boo. He's so sweet.
I wish I hadn't done that. Shh, we know. Good grief. I hear that. These crumb sheep burned so bad. Oh, are your asses chapped now by the truth? Sounds like you got spanked by the divine. Blisters, huh? Petulant children. Overgrown, petulant children. You're not children. Quit behaving like it. That's not how we honor the inner child. Being bratty little bullies to people. Get real. But that's what they've done their whole lives, these people who do this. I mean, the behaviors that I've had to call out from these so-called adults doing this in the business, work, career field, let me break their behaviors down into an analogy of like a daycare, okay? They walk over to somebody else who's doing an art project just because they're jealous and they pour sand on it, or they kick somebody's sandcastle in the sandbox over just because they're jealous of it, or they try to go snatch a toy out of someone else's hand that's playing with it just because they want it. That's the first bit. Then there's we'll get there in a second. We're going to go over a little bit more of the emotional state since that water emotion fairy card came out. Then there's the bit where they get called out for it, or even if they don't, they preemptively start playing the victim, knowing that they will be in trouble if they don't. So they start trying to make a drama so that they can cry and play the victim and point fingers at the person who they snatched the toy from. The person who I stole this toy from is being mean. Don't make me be in trouble for doing that to them, but make them be in trouble for making me cry. It's like that. But this is the type of stuff that you see like kids do. Why is this in the adult arena? This is not normal behavior. Okay, their behaviors are the same though. You see that kind of crap in a daycare. But the toddlers have an excuse. They're toddlers. These are adults trying to play business arena, except for when it comes time to taking adult accountability in that legal, or in their case, illegal business arena, they don't want to do it. You can't have it both ways. Are you children or adults? Children don't run businesses like that. Adults need to take adult accountability for doing so and then breaking the law in doing so. Yep. So see, they tried to suck the life. And I mentioned that in one of the comments of the last couple of posts. Energy harvesting rejected. That's what that was. Copycat. Let me cloak myself in your energy type of thing. Yeah. And so I ripped the mask off and reminded them of who they are, which was not the people that they've been copying. Because if they were really like us, they wouldn't be doing that. We wouldn't. So they failed, didn't they? Trying to disturb the peace. Because they lack peace themselves. Parasites rejected. Energy harvesting rejected. Yeah. Now they're feeling fragmented, split open. They don't know what to do. Like they're bleeding out. But you see, they came after a warrior and expected us to just lay down and let them have it. No. Imperial armor. Dude. Tried to rob the treasury and expected there to be no armored guards outside it. Who do you think you are? What would I recommend? Here's some practical self-care just to quickly answer your question. We'll go through that. Escape materialism. Don't focus on the money so much as you do the principle and the passion. Money will come. Balance, find balance between the two. Do the work, of course. But in this case with the plagiarizer energies, I know that God's got me on the other side of it. And I know that all of this is coming to pass and that everything will be restored, not just in regards to my pockets. On the other side of this scale that they tried to imbalance, remember that Libra scale that came out? Because there are fresh starts happening here. And the bunny card that was on the other, just the Queen maybe of Pentacles cards I think I saw. But there was a bunny rabbit in the corner of the card. So music is a way to definitely process emotions, but one of the things that I do is music in a variety of ways, mediumship included. So there's that. But music can just be a good way to shake up energy and also kind of process. So that's some advice to release doubts, right? Just put some music on or something helpful while you self-care. Release expectations. Like I said, I'm not expecting those brands to come and work with me. But I want them to know who they've been working with, which is a lying thief who's been stealing my work and trying to pass it off as her own. Because that's not good for a company or a brand either, especially when it comes out. In fact, it looks bad for a company working with people like that. Which is why I let them know before it got worse. This girl's already gained like 20,000 followers almost off doing this. The other one was like almost 6 million. No. If you're copying me for clout, then those are my viewers. Those are my followers. That's my content that you're copying. Get out. Yeah, Divine Masculine says, we got this. Maybe you can sing it with me. JP Cooper. I've been watching for hours, seeing you sing your favorite songs out loud. Something like that. I can write a song and record it. Maybe you can sing it with me. Wisdom. I just heard Sophia also. The goddess Sophia. It's actually who my daughter's named after, speaking of. Ooh, I just felt that big heart chakra activation. That got caught in my throat though. I almost, you hear my voice shake a little bit. Ooh, ooh, there it is, right through the crown. I heard that. Thank you, I know. But it's, whoa. Okay. And that goes into, well, this one ties to my spirit baby. I won't get into the depth of that right now, but that's her middle name. How funny is that? Yep, there it is, right in my throat again. Whoa, whoa. Taking the time to, what did I say? You may not take my legacy, destiny, path, and birthright. That's mine. You tried to disturb people who were just peacefully in their happy little space. And you're going to pay for that, Karmics. There's karma for disturbing the peace. Also, disturbing the peace as a legal structure is a law violation on the human plane. As above, so below. You don't, you don't think there's penalty for that in the spirit realm? Come on now. Yeah, see, they're trapped. They're trapped because we're not scared. They wanted to bully people into submission because that's the only way they feel like they can have control. They didn't want people to know what they were doing. But they were confused. We were not. The lotuses and the butterflies. Whew. Goodness gracious. Infinity. Senses. Yeah. And even the emotional flow, that heart chakra hit, clearing it out through the chakra system in the crown. It's being able to pick up these frequencies that are connected to the divine. But these karmics, they're taking losses for trying to step on other people's toes and violate other people's rights and violate other people's free will. That's what's happening to them now. That Uno reverse is backfiring because God saw that. I mean, like, we forgive you for being clowns, but we're not buying tickets to your circus, and we wouldn't take them if they were free. That's a scam. You're a sham and a fraud, a fake and a phony. And we don't deal with those types of people. Those aren't my people. And if that's who you are, neither are you. So, there's that. You keep asking, how do you fix this? How do you move forward? How do you heal? I can help with that. Have to get to the nitty-gritty of things first, though. Get down to the bottom of the well and clean out the muck before you can refill it, right? Like, you don't want to put nice new water inside a pool, and nice new cleaning chemicals or supplies and stuff unless you get the sludge out of the bottom of it first that's settled there over the off season. I just got a vision of that. Okay, so look, great voice, you said. Use your voice to wake up others. It's important to speak up on important topics. If you see somebody being abused, if you see there is an issue, or maybe you need to speak up for yourself. Possibly, I'm seeing somebody in work. Maybe you need to advocate for yourself because you're being, maybe it's for a raise. Maybe you're being mistreated at work or overlooked, or maybe somebody's taking credit. I've seen this in the work field this way too, like at a company. Sometimes it's a boss that will take credit for underlings. Like, a manager will go to the owner and take credit for the other employees' ideas. They'll pitch ideas that another employee, or even a customer had to the owner, but then they'll try to take credit for the idea, the manager will, so that none of the employees get any notice or anything. In one hand, it's a way to try to boost themselves up, but in another way, it's a way for them to try to keep other people down, like a crabs in a barrel mentality. Face painful experiences and heal. Like I said, we've got to get to the bottom of the well first. You have to go to clear out the sludge in the bottom of the pool. Otherwise, when you put that nice crystal clear water in, it's going to be filled with muck, and the whole pool is going to be filled with dirt again. So there's that. I know it's hard. It's an uncomfortable thing, and it sometimes has to be done in waves, but yeah, it's still important to do that. And make sure it's clean so that no sediment is stirred once you refill it. Speaking of, look at the water here. Transforming heartbreak into inner strength. Yeah. Turning the pain into power. That's alchemy. People hear the word alchemy, and a lot of people don't really understand it. When you look up alchemy, usually the first thing that, at least when I did years ago, popped up was, well, two things. Often Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist will pop up, but then also the concept, the old school concept of chemists trying to take lead and other base elements and combine them to turn them into gold. But alchemy is kintsugi. I just heard and got a flash of kintsugi. Kintsugi is Japanese pottery. They take a beautiful glass piece like this. They'll make a vase or a plate or a bowl, and then they'll take a hammer and they'll shatter it. And then they will take liquid gold powder, ground gold powder, real gold, and they'll dip it in this glue. They'll mix it in this glue, and then they will paint each piece of the pottery that they made and then broke on purpose back together. But you can see the gold leaking out of the cracks, and every single piece is different. They're all custom made, handmade. Not a single one is the same. They're all so beautiful, and it's the way the fragmentation card came out. These people tried to hurt us. The wound is where the light enters. I think they're going to make cracks in us, and it will just tear us apart. No. More light has the opportunity to shine through as long as you let it enter first. But these people who are trying to plot on people and steal from people and cover it up, they're in shadows, trying to spin more shadows, trying to play the victim when they get called out for it. They're throwing shade. No, you're throwing shade. I shed light. There's a difference. You feel exposed, but it's because the light I shine, well, illuminated your shadows. Why does that bother them? I love pottery, actually. I took ceramics many times in high school to get away from bullies like this. Most people, if they took it at all, they only took it once. Nope, I kept... Turns out, the Gemini was trying to ground in the mud over there. Okay, so tell me about the shadow of the lighter. It moves when the lighter moves, right? It follows the lighter. But when the flame is not on. Now tell me what happens when the flame is on. Tell me about the shadow. Where did it go? It's gone. It died. And that's why they're mad, because their lies can't exist in the light. And if these people are made of nothing but shadows, neither can they. It's why they feel like we outshine them. It's why they try to throw shade on us and dim our light, because they feel like they don't shine as brightly or at all next to us. Okay? The wound is where the light enters. It doesn't matter how dark of a spot they try to put you in. Also, Ryan Primer did a video about this the other day. I've done this before too, but he put a little spin on it. Sometimes we just need some support. Somebody to remind us. Here's another one. This is the one Ryan did the other day. I've seen it other places before, but well, it didn't get wet enough. Hold on. See, that's what they tried to do, though. They got mad that we wouldn't die. Why it's still doing that? How is this happening? That's 2 for 2. They keep trying to put us out, and we just won't go. So then they try to dunk us again, right? There you go. Doesn't matter. My hand is still wet, as long as you have the other spark. And that's also why they wanted to keep the twins apart. Or honestly, just even isolate people from healthy familial or platonic relationships. It's easier to try to put people out and when they're alone and there's nothing or no one to start that spark back up. And that's what they thought. They also don't seem to realize it comes from the inside. And there's still fluid in this one. Comes from the inside, but they tried to create such a toxic, impossible to light situation around the lighter fluid that you couldn't even use it. Doesn't matter if you have that one person to relight the spark, whether you're wet or not. Speaking of the water fae. Okay. Facing fire, water. Facing painful experiences to heal. Deep heart. Believe in divine destiny. Yep. Resilient heart. Being able to bounce back. Still having that reserve of fluid. Maybe just needing a little bit of a spark from the outside. Or a reminder. Time to rebuild. It's time to rebuild. Use your voice. Oh, we did that one already. To wake up others. It's time to shine. What did I just say about the lighters too? That's so funny. Value what you have and more will appear. And that's the thing. I noticed that everybody who was trying to take and plot on and steal from myself or other people, they had, maybe those things were also stolen or taken from others, but they had something going for them, even if they had to work more on building it. But they saw what we had and either thought, oh, I want that too. Or they thought, oh, well, that looks like it's more successful than what I'm doing, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. But it's not about copying the outside. I mean, you might look at the outside and see that looks successful, but you don't see or understand and cannot gauge the amount of blood, sweat, tears, trial, error, pain, and anguish that person went through to build to the point that you're finally seeing on the outside that you're jealous of and just want to take overnight. No. Delusional. And frankly misguided. For starters. 7422. Okay, so there's that. Karmics, she's right. Oh, yeah. No arguments now, huh? There's nothing to argue. There never was. You're just finally catching that memo. The rest of us already figured that out a while ago. Or knew that from the jump. All right. No, there's no shade in, like you only know what you know until you know more. But like I said, some of us didn't have to go try to mess people up in order to learn that lesson the hard way. We just decided that maybe trying to fuck people over to get what we wanted wasn't it. Hard work, blood, sweat, tears, and elbow grease. Don't mind if I do. Uppercut. KO'd. Play the WWE shit. I'm gonna bounce you right off that ring. You know what I heard a few years ago? She reminds me, it's just like my little Ronda Rousey. Don't try me. Divine Masculine said, you're cute. I could simmer down now, but sometimes I like me better all feisty and shit. Kidding, kind of, but also not. Which side of the Gemini switch are you going to play today? Duality. Everybody's got a switch, and y'all just flipped it.
So here's a new song that's been picking up heat around town.
I love this.
I keep seeing you lately, singing your favorite songs out loud, and it's making me go crazy. Wish that I could take you out, oh I can't afford it, but I can write a song and record it, give it to you and wait and hope that maybe you will call me, won't you? Tell me that you want me, and maybe I could play for you tonight. Maybe you could sing it with me. Maybe you could sing it with me. I've been thinking for hours. Maybe nothing's in the clouds, but I could steal you some flowers and ask if I could take you out. Oh, I can't afford it, but I can write a song and record it. Give it to you and wait and hope that maybe you will call me, won't you? Tell me that you want me. Maybe I could play for you tonight. Maybe you could sing it with me.
Speaking of music. Hello, my name is Johann Sebastian Bach. So there's music, a music reference. You won my lottery. Prepare to die. Look at these karmics. You stole my content for profit. Prepare to face the consequences. And in case you don't know, in the movie The Princess Bride, that's this guy's iconic line. He said, you killed my father. Prepare to die. And he waited his whole life to find that man and say that to him. After watching his father be murdered when he was a boy, he waited his whole life. I heard patience is a virtue. Yeah, I guess, and revenge is a dish best served cold. Divinely. Oop, oop. Because they tried to target a peaceful person. That's so funny. You know what's hilarious? Is there's one divine feminine energy here and one divine masculine energy here, and they actually go together, not in the same life, but like they're in this particular reference. These two actually have a spiritual crossover tie. Interesting. I got some past life regression on that for you. So they thought that they would target very peaceful people, divine masculine and feminine, and that because we're light workers and we're peaceful, we wouldn't stand up for ourselves. No, bitch. You have confused peaceful from harmless, okay? Yeah, well, Gandhi won't hit back at Gandhi. I'm not Gandhi. If God tells me to swing, I'm going to swing at you. Typically speaking, I don't need to. God says that up. Was it Connor Price? Up. God can hit a lot harder than I can, let me tell you that. But sometimes I'm called to jump. I gave you those tools for a reason. I gave you that bat for a reason. You swing it. So when called, I do. Spiritual assassin style. So I do have that gift. Just don't typically advertise it or use it unless called. Not very frequently. In fact, I had it for years before even mentioning it or needing to use it. It was just sitting there dormant, waiting till God said, hey, remember that thing I gave you a few years ago? Yeah, whip that out today. Okay, Sky Daddy. But here's the thing. If you are not a person who is capable of great harm, you're not a peaceful person. You are harmless. And I'm not harmless. I choose peace. Like Divine Masculine said, the beast in her was sleeping, not dead. You invited my ex. Yeah, we'll see these people all ganged up. Or it was this energy who went to play around in cult and coven energy, did some chaos and conflict magic, and all these little plagiarizers. Yeah, they're just mirroring that energy. It's just the same demon jumping in each of them and possessing one to the next down the line like dominoes, because they're all open and unprotected. Yeah, quit trying to force fit your big flat feet into Cinderella's custom-made glass slippers. He told you. You killed Mr. Meeker. Prepare to face the karma for that. Uno reverse. Yeah, see now. Look, these people thought that they were going to take advantage of us or cause problems. And in fact, what it's done is expose them to everybody and expose the truth about us. And while the toxic people did often try to group up together, the light workers also saw what was going on and have started to surround their vibe tribe now. So that backfired. Anything else? I heard that. She's badass. Yeah, well, kept me alive. Well, I had terrorists and sociopaths hunting me down. Cheers. Oh, I have something hilarious to tell you the other day. I have tears in my eyeballs from laughing. So I was talking to somebody the other day, and I happened to be taking care of a few things at once. And I had this in my hand while I was moving some things around. And I was holding it like this, really. And my mom looked up and she said, "It looks like you're holding a pink penis." Like, what? And then I looked down at my hand to see what she was talking about. I saw that Divine Masculine just threw his head back in a belly laugh. Yeah, see? I have tears in my eyeballs. He said, "That is funny. I did not expect that to come out of her mouth." The church mouse? Yes! I did not expect to hear that out of a church mouse's mouth, but it came. It came right in my living room. I heard that. What did you say? I just laughed. Told her no, it's a bull. What was I to say? Yeah, sure, Mom. I got this great big penis in my hand. No. I mean, definitely not the time or the place. Also, what? Just like this random detached wiener? Where'd that come from? No, it's glass, ma'am. It's medicinal. Cheers. A peace pipe. I didn't know what to do but just laugh. My masculine says that is pretty hilarious. I thought so. Okay. So, yeah, look, death to these old cycles. They rained on their own parade, didn't they? And death is just waiting for them now. Karma. Knight of Pence. Because they were rushing and they were impulsive. Oh, no, hold on. Are we doing the reversals? No reversals, that's what I thought. Okay. I need a little bit for this one. Thank you. That's what I thought. So this is the divine masculine energy coming through. He may have been taking longer than desired, but when he does come through, it's a stable offer. And he's not going anywhere, meaning it's like, let's say that somebody's sitting there waiting for him to come through, or just like anticipating a communication, but is waiting. And it's not that, okay, this is a double-edged sword. He shouldn't take extra time and waste time. He shouldn't just put it off because he thinks he can, because that's not nice or healthy to a connection. Especially if what she wants is time, connection, and companionship, nothing that he's organizing to try to give her, or whatever other things could possibly replace that. And if she's a person who, let's say her love languages are like physical touch and quality time spent and communication, words of affirmation or love, then nothing that he's trying to organize to give her a gift or, you know, take a trip or any of those things is really worth it, because I don't think she's going to go anywhere with you, dude, if you can't even have a conversation with her. Like, why would she want to take something from you when it took you that long to do what she seems to perceive as setting up a bribe for her to be with you, when she already wanted to be with you and you wasted time like leaving her hanging? Why would she want gifts from you when you can't even have a conversation? That's the kind of energy. Like, I don't want you to try to buy my affections when I can't trust you. There's anxious energy coming from this, and I feel it. But he is coming through. This is that person who they want to come through with an offer, but let's say they're inviting somebody to move in with them. They want to make sure that the house is secured, or like, meaning they have it period, or they have it set up, or they want to offer an invitation. They want to make sure that the details of that offer are already organized before they send out the offer. Or hey, would you like to go on this trip with me? But they want to make sure that they've got all the details for the flights checked out and straightened out, so that when she says yes, if she says yes, he's already ready to go. And he doesn't have to try to sort things out or wait or dilly-dally. Like, it's a matter of yes, and then, okay, well, I'm ready, or, you know, can you be ready by this time? I'll come through. And he already has all the details sorted out. He's ready to go. It's that kind of an energy. So double-edged sword, do not use that as an excuse to take and waste more time, DM, but divine feminines, understand that this energy, when it's coming with this Ace of Cups especially, it's not coming like these past people, especially King of Wands in reverse energies have, where they wanted basically to string people along, or that's what ended up happening while they went around and played and were doing things behind the scenes. Those people weren't coming through because they were distracted by the wrong things. They were being selfish on levels. This person is not the same way. And I say that because I'm just doing a general right now, love. Actually, hold on. Yeah, I guess I can pull a few if you'd like. Magician, Hierophant. I haven't usually been doing that, but we will. And yes, thank you. Good manners. So there's alchemy happening here. And the Hierophant is a superior. This could be a judge. This could be an upright figure, possibly a masculine. Doesn't have to be a masculine figure. Could be a female. But in this case, I'm picking up some kind of higher authority figure. Look at all of the books over here too, and the two cats. This seems to be a superior. This, like I said, could be a judge. I'm picking up as far as the plagiarism and book theft and stuff goes. This could be Amazon, right? Making a ruling against people who are violating copyright infringement. This could be a judge in a court of law for some people. This could be some kind of authority figure, an investigator, an officer. I just heard keeping the peace. More specifically, seeing where the issue is and putting it to rest, because trying to find there is no keeping the peace or trying to find a neutral in a situation where somebody's stealing from another person. The person who's stealing is wrong and the person who's being stolen from is not. It's very cut and dry and black and white. And so for somebody to try to keep the peace in a situation like that would be to try to neutralize the situation so that a victim gets less than what they deserve, but then the perpetrator doesn't get as much of a consequence as they are overdue for. And that's not it. That's not balance. That's creating an imbalance and further dragging it out. But anyway, Knight of Pence in reverse. I hear Divine Masculine say, I'm coming. And these cycles are closing once and for all. And this may also be why he was taking his time to make sure everything that needed to be closed out was tied off so that nothing could block him from moving forward and nothing could come back and interrupt their future. At least part of it for some. Yeah, because they're not confused anymore. They know what's up and what they want. Even if they had to figure out exactly how to get there. Or make those, help those situations play out. I've got one more deck here. Still need to pack this bowl. Actually, I saw another one too. Grief. They're feeling sad now. These people are feeling like they're taking losses because, look, the book theft and the plagiarism and all of that, the people who they took from are taking their power back and moving forward, right? These people were energy vampires trying to suck the life out of us, and heard that. I don't know what song this is, but I hear the, hold on. It's Vitamins by Queen Herbie. I snatched my physique, put the color back in my cheeks. Working out, eating smart, taking vitamins. I'm just here to report the news. Yeah, so before I play this, there's a reference of having courage to open up to this love that's coming through as both sides of the Lightworker Collective shift into a higher level of being. You may be getting, I know I do, dream prophecy about what's coming up, or possibly visions, I know I have, about what's going on, or you may be actually activating, you may be awakening into a higher level of spiritual comprehension or gift for some, but it requires integrity, which these people did not have, which is why the universe does not support them, and they don't have any love. Look, isn't that what's on my YouTube right now? Gabriella Hartwell? Is that not there, or did I change it already? Oh, I don't know if it'll show me while I'm live. It's showing the live feed up top. I think I have that listed at the top of my page right now, right? I know I did for a few days at least. If it's not there, it was. But it was a twin flame meditation. No, I just went to check. I'm talking to myself on that one. Thank you. No worries. You'll be able to see when it's down. Also, I'll link it in the description box. But there's a level of gratitude that is needed, and it's also being held. Even just simply grateful for being alive. Look, there's definitely twin flame activation or mirror here though happening. Okay. So there's that. Let's do this. Here you go. This one. Put a couple more. Beware of an attempted setup. They low-key want to be you. I know, that's why the copycat thing, but that's also why their tactics are failing. They shouldn't have been doing that. Look, they're telling people you're fake. These people, when I call them out for stealing and being fake or lying or whatever, they try to say, you can't believe her. She thinks she's a psychic. She's a fake psychic. But you sound like idiots because everything that I speak actually plays out or already has. So, no. Also, if you check the facts based on what I'm saying, it's not just based off, I mean, sometimes I speak prophecy just off the cuff, but a lot of times I also bring facts and receipts to back it up. Most of the time. And if I didn't, you can just ask, because even if I didn't post them, I typically have them. Somebody says, why wouldn't you post everything? Well, sometimes it's for legal and safety purposes. Heard that. Can't say shit because a bitch NDA'd. Yep. But anyway, it's just evil. It's just malicious, evil eye. What the evil eye is a reference of somebody seeing you, noticing something that you have or that you are, and being jealous of it. And so they sit there and they give you the stink eye and either wish on your downfall or even subconsciously out of self-loathing and jealousy project that negative energy towards you. And basically it ends up being like a black magic spell, or simply references their motive to do something grimy, even on the physical human plane. But there's nothing that they can do. They can't do crap to you. And when they start doing spell work, the wind will tip you off to them. I always notice. Now, sometimes wind is just wind. Let's be clear about that. As an air sign, I'll be the first person to speak this. Look, their spell work is affecting them. But when I, as a psychic medium, suddenly get this weird bit of energy and this download about an attack that's coming through, or who is sending it, and my stomach drops and I get the whole round with it, the whole bunch of stuff. And then the wind suddenly starts whipping out of nowhere, even just one big gust all at the same time. Yeah, that's spell work. I noticed that that's spell work, but usually I'll pick up the download about spell work coming through. And then just after that, the wind, just a big gust of wind will start to whip or something. So sometimes it's just wind, but in that case, it's not. You'll always be 10 steps ahead of them. Yeah, it would be 11, but you gave me stress-induced asthma. I'll heal that, though. Don't worry. Exactly. And this is why I whistle blow, because I've got light workers watching. Divine Masculine is watching. These people were fake. They have been fake from the beginning. And these people were not my friends. The ones that resonate with this in relation to me. But the whole fake friend since the beginning, as far as these plagiarizer energies go, who copy, let's just use myself as an example, copy my content and then try to go sell it to other people and make brand deals with other companies because they're pretending to be me. They're not friends of those companies either. They're putting those companies in legal jeopardy and liability, even just business damages because of association with this. And also in a lot of businesses, they have something called a morality clause. And when you agree to sign with a business or partner with a business, or a company takes you on as an employee, in a contract, there's often something called a morality clause or an ethics clause. And if you do something like this, steal or you're lying or you're doing something that just is a poor representation. Like, let's say somebody is posting racist stuff online, even if it's outside of work, because of how that person's representing themselves, posting racial slurs and stuff at people, that company's within reason to fire them because it looks bad on the company. Ignore these fools, you're too fire for them. And so I did have to do a bit of whistleblowing as I was called to draw the sword today. No pun intended. But typically speaking, and from this point out, these people are not relevant. I said what I needed to say. I warned them. They continued to violate. That's willful copyright and trademark infringement, so they will be catching lawsuits for that. And if they were as talented as they were trying to pretend to be, they wouldn't need to copy from me or anybody else. But you see, they do see the skill set here and are jealous of it. That's why they try to throw combat or slander, but also wanted to copy at the same time. It's that I hate you because I can't be you, but I really love you. And so I'm going to sneak diss you, but I wish I... No, you can't be me. You can't be with me. You can't sit with me, VIP. There's that. Goodness gracious. So now, let me pull some cards for you. Because that was just closing up the general. Jeremy, you said? Okay, can I get some for Jeremy, please? Thanks, God. Elevate. If something feels or looks too good to be true, trust your gut. Reach out to those you simply enjoy spending time with to elevate your energy. Yeah. Be aware of your surroundings. It is necessary to move away from a denser or heavier energy. I'm noticing this symbol here. It's possibly some other people in very dark energy. Maybe you said something about spell work. Yeah, maybe some people that play in, just heard the dark arts or something. Oh, hold on. I've got a spirit guide coming through. She's from Canada. She died a few years ago. I love her so much. But she's showing me this deck. And actually one of... Alright, well, I'll grab that one too. She's showing me this deck. And this was one of the last, I think, cover photos that she used. Let's pull this out. And another one fell while I was grabbing it. It has a lion on the front of it. There may be a fire sign energy involved. Elevate. With doubt, you can be keeping yourself from reaching your full potential. Never let yourself or other people prevent you from attaining what you want. And then opposition, conflict, friction, and competition within yourself or with others are impeding the achievement of goals. Become more conscious of your thoughts and work. So this does sound like it ties into the reading. And for those who are watching, because I do feel like there's a resonance with this in the general reading, the people who are being oppositional and copycats and stealing and trying to basically compete for what they've been stealing from someone else, like compete with the person they're stealing from as if there is a competition. If you've got to do that, there's none. It's ridiculous. But anyway, then they need to stop. They're being called out for it, even here. And this is why people are leaving them. As far as the light workers go, these are not your people. Okay, so you go where the love is. Yeah. Strength. You possess the strength to confront your fears. Now is the time to let go of constraints. Whatever is preventing you from moving forward, face it head on. Reflection. Contemplate on what you already understand about yourself and progress towards what you desire in order to get the answers you seek. And reflection came out earlier. There was a twin flame reference with that too. It might not actually be talking to people. It might be these people in your energy. Like you said something about potentially people are trying to take from you. Because remember a few minutes ago I said, wait, what was it? The friends, that these people aren't my friends, but the people who they've been trying to sell my stolen ideas and content to, they've been trying to butter up to those people and pretend to be friendly with those people. So it's not always necessarily about, no, I was asking myself, don't worry. Or really the holy angels who just came through with the answer. I asked it out loud and then I'm speaking the response, the friends. And it was the plagiarizer energies, because this is all paralleling here. They're not my friends, but they've been trying to suck up to other people that way. And so even though they're not my friends and I don't deal with or associate with them, they've been all up in my energy field. And so it's that kind of an energy, which it's kind of like black magic. That's why we clear them out. Anything else? Not with that deck. Okay, this one. Her name is Mary, actually. I can't. This one's too big to shuffle that way. I've got to shuffle it long ways. Hold on. I can't. My hands aren't big enough. Okay. I'm not taking all those. I'll do 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. Which is funny because that's exactly how those fell. The Lovers. Ace of Pentacles. I want to know about that Lovers card. This is about money. Queen of Swords. There's truth being spoken here that needs to be spoken in judgment. Truth coming out. Queen of Swords. Not being afraid to speak the truth or stand up for yourself. I mentioned that earlier. Ripping the masks off these narcissists as well. All their secrets being exposed. The Moon. Uncovering their secrets. And the Judgment is their karma coming back or being caught finally for either stealing from people or trying to, or there's a blessing coming for light workers who went through this, like payment coming back either physically or possibly opportunities from the universe or both. But the Emperor card is here. King of Wands. Hold on. I want to know about that too. Let's grab this deck. Just a second. I need to recalibrate for a moment. And grab some water, please. Or something to hydrate with. Make sure you take good care of yourselves. Me too. I definitely need to go chill out for a little bit. But while I let this song play, this Queen Irby song, it's Vitamins, I'm going to do some herbology really quickly, and then maybe we'll do some Reiki before I go and clear the energy. You're very welcome. I just need to take a second. I've been here for 109 minutes and 32 seconds, which is at least a couple of hours. So thank you for letting me clear the space before diving in. I think that's better to do anyway. Hey, I'm so fucking disrespectful. Divine Masculine says, no, you're not disrespectful. They just can't handle the truth. But if they couldn't handle the heat, they should have stayed out of your kitchen and your tea corner. You should have stayed out of Alex's Wonderland. Yeah. Welcome to my creep show. Welcome to my creep show. All right, let's play this song. Extra, extra, read all about it. Queen coming back to the brand new style. Been focused on my shit, making moves in silence. Working out, sleeping in, taking vitamins. Oh, I've been waking up smiling. Bitch, they be calling me your highness. Oh. I've been waking up Working out, eating smart, breaking vitamins.
Aim high and I swing low. Open mind, anything goes. TLC to these silly hoes. They ain't listening to Queen and it really shows. I baptize bitches with my holy flow. I don't fuck with no chickens.
Only goats.
Out here looking like a vegan. Oh, she glows. Wanna know my secrets and my antidote.
Self-care, good living. Eat my greens, nutrition. If you're not on my vibe, then I don't have to listen. Red chestnut, power of peace of mind. So I pulled these out yesterday intuitively, knowing I meant to use them actually yesterday, but knowing I would use them today at least. Oh, I did say that. I forgive you for being clowns, Karmics, but, you know, we're going to remember that we're not buying tickets to your circus. We're taking them if they're free. I have said that. Have patience. Patience is a virtue. So I'll use these. Also this, for those who are interested, is a really good, it helps with anxiety. It's a nervous system relaxer, but it's natural. There are no side effects that I find with this. And somebody says, how much do you take it? Up to 3 times a day sometimes, but usually once at least. Oh, I've been forgetting to take it lately. Skull cap. It's got a cool name. It's good for anxiety. Forgive and forget. That was the willow. And did you know, I've got a fun fact about this. Willow is a Native American old school. I wondered if you were doing that. Thanks. Forgive and forget. But willow trees, Native Americans were using long before Western medicine knew about this. And they were taking the bark off of willow trees, which are really ancient, very spiritual trees. There's a reason that grandmother willow is what's used in Pocahontas specifically. And also there's a reason that she's by the river. Willow trees have really deep roots and they love really wet river bank kind of environments like that. Or really nice damp environments where they can put their roots deep and drink that water up. But natives were taking willow bark and boiling it into a tea, speaking of my tea corner here. And then eventually white folk figured this out and started making aspirin. But it originally came from the natives. Somebody says aspirin or ibuprofen. Nope, not ibuprofen, just the aspirin. It's a derivative from willow bark. Even now. That's a good one. Okay, so the ruin came out, but it was in reverse, and I am being called to take it in reverse. And you know what? I didn't show it, but the tower card, one of them came out earlier, also in reverse, or it showed me on the bottom of the deck. I just didn't read it. And this was a reference of the fact that they tried to upturn people. They tried to upturn their targets, but it didn't work. In fact, I'd say it blew up in their face, the bridge. Yeah, see, look, because we managed to find a way from point A to point B. They thought that they were going, you know what? Joan of Arc came up this morning. It's the Loire River reference. Okay, let me explain. Jeanne d'Arc. Wicca in reverse. So their spell work backfired. Even if it wasn't actual spell work, it was very impulsive gallhead. it was just negative intent, right? Like the concept of black magic does not have to be somebody sitting down around an altar or with a group of people and chanting. If somebody walks into a court of law and they lie under oath or on paper, that could be considered word witching. It's perjury in a court of law, but in the witch world, it could be called word witching, like trying to curse someone with words. Lies and slander, that's black magic. It's dishonest. God is love and light and truth. And so what is the point of someone sitting down doing a spell, casting an incantation with actual witchcraft? Is to do the spell, but it's not just to do the spell and call it good. It's that they want the spell to manifest into something physical. Like if someone does a death spell, it's not just because they're being hateful towards someone and they want to send some nasty words out at people and that's where it ends. What they're trying to do is make that death spell manifest into that person really dying in real life. And so what is the difference of lying in court to try to get what they want? It's called perjury in court, but that's still word witching. It's still black magic. It's about the intent and what they're doing and why. Okay. I don't want you to be afraid. I felt that. I got you. If you're ever spooked or confused about that, just check in, please. I got you. Don't worry. I'm also very good at clearing that energy out. No, they're not doing that. They're not allowed to do that. They're not. I cannot do the work for you, as in regards to your own self-growth and healing. You have to make the choice and the self-discipline, all of my people here. Free will, you've got free will to, take the knowledge and apply it, put yourself in good environments or keep yourself out of them as best as possible and self-regulate. But I hear we're all in this together, right? And not everybody has the skill set to do that. I do. This is why I stand here and I help. This is why I do this for sometimes hours at a time, not charging people a dime or even asking, although my stuff is always listed in my description box, for money or advertising myself. No, that's not what it's ever been about. Ever. Whether I'm actively running that part of the business or not, it's never been about that. I didn't start that way. Eventually God said, hey, you need to turn this into a business. And I stopped actually for a few years dealing with actual combative warfare from really horribly abusive people. But that's not what it's been about. We ripped the masks off of these people. And one of those plagiarizer energies tried to pull out a sword today in a picture that she posted while being very dishonest, which is why it's in reverse. Snake-tongued. And so I would say that that's just the energy of these people. Ah, it is, see? Because the truth teller, Divine Feminine, said, but I have got the upright sword, so I will come through with the truth. She can cast out these demons, right? They thought that they were going to snatch someone else's legacy, throne, purpose. No. Yeah. This is a queen who is very in tune with the spiritual realm and a divine masculine energy, who looks like he's holding a brain here. So who's very logical, and he's also protecting his head as well, like shielding it from crown attacks. So Joan of Arc. This was the Loire River story. There was a gatehouse. Actually, before I do that, let's double check on those two. There was a gatehouse. And the English came over. Joan was French. This was in France, Normandy, France. The English came over on this side, and the French were over here. There was a river between them. French, English, gatehouse. There was a gate that went across the river right here. And the English came over to the French gatehouse, which connected the gate over to the other side of the river. This was the river in between. And they stormed it. It's called a coup d'etat. A hostile overthrow, basically. So they come in with their guns a-blazing, and they say, okay, we're taking this. It's ours now. The French flee across the bridge to the other side of the river. And then they take bombs or whatever whatever grenade style things, whatever they had in that era to create this level of destruction, and they blew up the bridge. Of course, that wasn't ideal for the French because that's the bridge that they were using to get food and supplies over to the French village over here from across the other towns in the river, which they needed the gatehouse for. Somebody is feeling like this is a description for their life. This is why this is coming up. Must be. It came up this morning. And so I feel that. It's like you're over here and somebody's trying to come attack you and you've just been trying to protect yourself, and we'll get there. I see it. 121:22. So I heard also, but we can swim. Yep. Oh, look. And the cat's getting sick all of a sudden. So that's that energy. Spiritual ipecac. We're not swallowing that garbage. Hot dumpster fire, Karmics. So the English captain, he goes to the top of the gatehouse and he starts screaming all kinds of insults at Joan. He calls her a witch. Oh, buddy. He calls her a hoe, basically calls her a prostitute. I mean, she was a virgin anyway. It was just so rude and weird, but all these different things. And then a few days later, a battle ensued. Actually, let me tell you about the wind first, because that air sign energy was coming out. Okay, so Joan was a creative problem solver, and she thought, okay, well, we can't use the bridge to get supplies over to the villagers, but we can put a boat in the river, and we can go downstream a bit and get supplies across through the boat. And so they were doing that, but the wind, there was no wind. They didn't have motors. This was a sailboat. And it was dangerous because as they were loading stuff onto the boat over here, they were ready to go back across, except for there was no wind. So they were stuck on the bank of the river with the English. But just at the last moment, the wind picked up and carried them back across. And so they were safe. A few days later, a battle ensued. And all of the townspeople, even the civilians, people who were not soldiers, strapped up for battle because they knew that Joan was right. They were fighting for a just cause. Let me play this for you. I'm gonna be hard to replace. One thing I won't do is let you tell me that I can't be great. Who's gonna stop me now? One thing I won't do is let you tell me that this is not my fate.
Everyone went in search of justification. Joan's allies suggested that perhaps she had succumbed to pride and overambition, and that God had simply humbled her. Others said God had withdrawn his support because she attacked on a feast day, usually considered too holy for war. And her enemies claimed that it was evidence she was a witch, and her victory at Orleans a work of Satan, and that the Almighty instead had heard the prayers of Paris's defenders.
Okay.
Hello, beautiful.
So they think you're trying to make them mad and jealous. That's funny. Isn't that funny when you're just living your best life and you're just happy and people out of jealousy think that you're trying to make them jealous as if the world revolves around them? Like, no. It's that same type of thing where, like, I think maybe she's just playing hard to get. Maybe she's just not interested in you. Did you ever think of that? Divine Masculine's like, right, I know, you'll tell me if you like me. Exactly, and I did. So you know that I know what I'm talking about, and you know that it's legit. So people really think that when you say no, go away, you're just, yeah, they think I'm playing hard to get or something. No. Speaking of Leo, my Leo friend, he died a few years back, but he used to tell me, I was so confused. I was on a little tangent one day about this. He was gay. He was my gay friend. One of them. And so I was very confused as to why this was. And he said, well, a lot of people aren't like that. Like a lot of females, girls, etc. If they're interested, they'll play games and they'll play hard to get. You don't do that. You're just an honest, you're a rare one. And so they're just used to the normal, I guess, standard of things, which I don't find very standardly. I think it's toxic. But yeah, it is more common, unfortunately. From what I've observed, there are more of them than of us. But quality over quantity. Speaking of, wow, dude, look what just fell out and the deck got split. And I mentioned this, they cursed themselves, trying to throw curses at us. Word, air signs are the wind. Air signs are about words. Word witching. They caught themselves up in a bunch of karma, now 8. Yep. So the Loire, there was a battle. All the townspeople showed up. And at first the military said, no, we're not taking civilians onto the battlefield. And they said, well, you don't have a choice. You don't have enough soldiers otherwise. And we're not here for you. We're here for Joan. And they fought. And there was a point where Joan got hit in the shoulder and in the foot. She had an arrow go all the way through her foot and then also into her shoulder blade. And she went down for the count for a minute. And they rushed her to the medical tent on the French side. I believe, if I recall, this was when they were battling for the gatehouse. Yeah, it was. And yeah, that's exactly what it was. I'm getting the flash right now, flashback. Okay, so there were lots of battles. I had to pause for a second. But this one, the townspeople showed up. They were all fighting. The whole town, not even soldiers, just civilians. And she was taken to the infirmary tent. And she helped patch her own wound. She slapped mud in them, put her battle gear back on, and then she continued to push forward. But while she was in the tent, all the people who were behind her, standing beside her, all those townspeople, oh, this one might get me too, fighting for her. They thought that she died. They thought that she was gone. And so they started losing. They started feeling like they couldn't win. Like, how can we win when the reason that we're here isn't there anymore? Ooh. And she knew this. So she limped back onto the battlefield with a hole in her foot and bleeding from her shoulder. And she marched back onto the battlefield and she raised that white flag back up. It had Jesus' name on it. Mother Mary and Jesus. Oh God, there's the Mary reference. Yep, there she goes. That's my girl. She was from Canada. She was such a sweetheart. That's my girl. It's a Lovecraft one. And one of her last cover photos was that thing. Ooh, goodness. So, when she raised that white flag back up, all of a sudden it brought a second wind, basically, speaking of the wind, back into everybody, and they fought harder. They pushed back forward, right? So for a split second, the English thought that they were winning because the French started falling. And they continued. Hold on, I need just a second to reframe. They continued to push back once they saw that Joan was actually okay. Limping, but she was still alive, and it was like having their mascot almost there made them love, gave them the second wind, gave them, in their mind, a reason to fight, the inspiration and the courage. She gave them courage. They could tap into their deepest selves, their deepest reserves to keep pushing, keep fighting for their lives. 130, 122, and they pushed back harder. And all of a sudden, the English threw their hands up and forfeited and scurried back home, where they should have stayed in the first place at that point. Pretty much. Oh, look, I just split the deck. And so this is a divine masculine energy, King of Swords, stepping up and matching this energy. And this may not be two people, although I do feel like for some this is, and I'm going to check on this. This is supposed to be personal for you, but it's playing out like the generals have been. We'll pull on it for specifics though. But this Lovers card does not have to be lovers in that regard. This could be platonic love and friendship, or like soul family references, people who just genuinely care and would be willing to step up on the battlefield and fight with you, not because anybody wants to fight, but because it's better than forfeiting to abuse. You cannot break me, and I'm still fighting for peace. I've got thick skin and I stay hard. King of Cups, yeah. See, there's somebody emotionally sensitive. Hold on. I don't know what that's about too. What about this Ace of Swords? Okay. So there's a new, picking up two things from this. There's a new fresh start happening from people who were dealing with deception. Also, is deceptive people thought that they were getting new fresh starts or like a boost in life by being deceptive and doing this. There's the dog also, I noticed. Speaking of one of these karmic people who's been doing the copycat plagiarism thing for me, recently got a new dog and named it Joan after my past life. Yeah, this is somebody that's been targeting my child and I. And is a water sign, interestingly enough. But this King of Cups, two things. There's a emotionally balanced, intuitive, sensitive Earth Angel here. Yeah, see, there's the High Priestess that just jumped out. But there's also an energy of, with these other cards, somebody trying to use emotions to manipulate, or spells. I'm picking up spell work. Sometimes that's emotionally driven too, emotionally based, yeah. They did not want the High Priestess or the High Priest energy. The High Priest came out earlier too. They did not expect the High Priest or High Priestess to be able to defend themselves. They tried to create confusion. The Devil card is in reverse. Why? Because the Strength card is upright. If the Devil card comes out, it means you have the strength to overcome it. Just be mindful. If the Strength card comes out, it means the Devil's lurking. But obviously, again, you have the strength to overcome it. Ten of Pentacles. That's happy, stable home life. What about it? I feel like I need to put this deck away. Hold on. Actually, you see this. Just cut right to the quick of it, shall we? Yeah, some good stuff is about to happen, so don't let any like self-sabotage issues or anything or people mess it up for you. Buffalo heads a lot after getting You mean getting spell work done on you? After you noticed somebody was doing spells, or that's what you thought? That buffalo heads were starting to pop up? Yeah, probably it symbolizes that, it looks like the devil head with the horns, right? Stop trying to change people. That shit never works, so you do you. There's also a reference of collaboration here. Maybe wanting to work with people, but maybe there's people not being the right people to work with, or no, thank you very much. Come on. Or somebody trying to work with you and not being the right people to work with you. Yeah, see, drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, throw some shit out, detox. I've just been over here making green juice and taking care of stuff. That person, that project, that idea is waiting. Go after that shit. The world has your back. Fuck fear. It will lie to your face. Yeah. It's probably that. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, though. Not always. But yeah, I can often indicate that. Also, make sure to go take care of yourself. If you need to shower and get some rest, eat a good meal, then please do that. This could just be like emotional regulation too. In fact, I got out of the shower a little while ago, but I think I'm going to go draw a bath in a little bit and mermaid myself. Make better choices. If you're pissed at where you are, stop taking yourself there. And then whatever you're thinking about doing, now is not the time. And I do feel like this might have to do with going back into a situation, or like letting someone back, or rerouting. Hold on, what is this? I hear don't let the past back. And don't keep chasing it. Yeah, that little voice inside you, listen to that shit. You've got a feeling you just can't shake. There's something your intuition's trying to tell you. And you know what it is. I'm hearing you know what it is. Stop sleeping so much. This is one of those energies. Sometimes these people are very draining. They do nasty things that cause harm, or they're just exhausting to deal with. And so sometimes we need to recover from that. But there's also this thing that they do where some of the spell work they send, or the intent that they send, or the reason that they're trying to spin people's gears is so that they're too drained to live their life, to fulfill their passions, to make their art, to put it out, because then it makes it easier for them to try to copy it and claim it and take it for themselves. At least that's what they think. So you also said you don't really hang out with people or something. Well, I think that maybe you should. Because that's what the advice is. Also, not to be rude, it's the card, it came out, but there's a reference of having the power to shift a situation. And while it's okay to feel your feelings and vent, like certainly get it off your chest, don't stay there. Don't simmer in it. Don't dwell in it. I feel like this is that thing I mentioned, like going back to a situation, or just like looping back around, or Like continuing to sweat or dwell on the situation, which won't actually change it, will draw more negativity to it. If you need to speak up about a situation or whistle blow or process it and feel it out, then that's one thing, but don't stay there. From that point, it's important to try to find a creative solution. It's important to try to rebuild or shift in a more positive direction or something. But yeah, look, there it is. Don't waste your time on ridiculousness. Spend your time on someone or people, situations, opportunities, hobbies that are worth it. Meaning, even if it's not stop texting, stop checking, it's about not continuing to dwell on a situation. And that might be where the love card came into. And then, as far as this card goes, I'm going to turn the light on. Watch your eyes. Might be a little bright. There's a crown on this person's head. They're stitched together here. And there are two faces here. And I'm picking up, this is these karmic energies trying to play Frankenstein mishmash. Like in my case, they tried to copy the crown thing, but they're just playing pretend because they thought it looked cool, thought it made them seem like a queen. But I actually carry legitimate royal bloodline. It's in my descendancy lineage. It's where my family comes from genetically. So weird. Anyway, make it rain just popped out of the center. Okay, careful. Watch out. Shit could get ugly. Don't be shady. Also, don't deal with people like that. And then make it rain came out. So there's a reference of either people trying to plot on money, or you've got some kind of good idea or something that you can make something out of, a profit, a successful business or something.
No, no, no. I see you, you little sneaky monkey. When I caught you.
Haha. Yeah, tell me about this. Eat some shit made by Mother Nature. Eat your fucking vegetables. It'll help you feel better also. Putting good living energy into your body versus something that has dead energy on a shelf. Yeah, I was thinking about the music. You said something about lyrics, so there's that. And then also a reference of, again, people trying to steal and copy those things. That's not it. Trying to build a business or build something off of someone else's creations or work, that's not it. So don't do that. Anybody who's listening that resonates with that. And don't tolerate that from others who are doing that, for anybody who resonates that's had that done to them or is being targeted that way. Like, this was toxic of them. They broke your heart. So fuck them. Those people are not important. And go where the love is, including your own passions and hobbies and things that make you feel happy, that are healthy for you. Invest in that. So shit's going down with your job, it says. Reevaluate, change your perspective, or quit. And it seems like this could even be with the hobby reference. For some, it's maybe moonlighting their hobbies into their careers, or you need a big hug. Squeeze. Three cards hit the ground. I'm going to stop it after that. For now, I just need a little bit of time to recharge. help people, give back, do good shit for humanity. This came out again. You're very welcome. I do have one more question, though, for the oracle. Stop talking. Listen. Hold on. You're giving too many fucks. Give 0. Because we don't give a fuck about no bitch. I do hope this helps. I do have one more question, though, on that love. You know, love is my thing, guys. I started doing love readings here before the abuse and the attack started and amped up to the point where 98% of the time it was spiritual warfare readings. But you know that's where my roots are. So. I want to see. That's all right. Because it did come out, the Lovers card. Can you, is this the right deck for that? Yeah, let's do this one. Can you tell me about the Lovers card? Keep an open mind, worth waiting for. Okay, so if there's a connection that you have, yeah, I'm going to pull on that one too. Because I thought about that when that card came out, since you said you don't really talk to people. Oh, but that might have to do with just this reading. Or, hold on. Oh, could also be in a situation. Hold on. Like sometimes people will tell on themselves if you just listen. I notice it all the time. When liars lie, they try to tell these grandiose stories, but there are either holes in them or they lie or catch them in things they don't realize you're catching them in because they're so caught up in it. Because on the flip side, it did say that you need to get out more and like talk to actual people. So that's a bit contradictory, but listen. Yeah. Sometimes if people are nervous or they just don't know what else to say, they'll try to fill space. But like I said, people like that will tell on themselves. And then also as far as those new people go, I think this is where the don't complain and all that stuff came in. Listen to what you have to. I fully understand. Can't talk to just anybody. No, you don't have to be cool with everybody. I'm not cool with everybody either. Some people aren't cool to be cool with. They're just not very nice. And so I get that. No judgment on that. But as far as the people who are actually your people, there's something about either two things. If they're not, they often tell on themselves. If they are, there are things that you can learn from them by listening. Hold on. As far as this goes, because I'm getting a crossover channel, you said something like, you're waiting on the one. I think that's what this is referencing, worth waiting for. If it's not a person who you're already in contact with and have been trying to build something with that's worth waiting for, this is a reference of it's better to be in your own company than in the company of the wrong person. Like, don't be in a toxic situationship just to fill that space, because then it's too full to actually have a healthy connection come through. Keep an open mind. That also may be just simply that last statement. Like, just because you think that there's nobody there now doesn't mean that there won't be. Separation. Wedding. There may have been a divorce. This may be a past life energy too, where there's like a fear of this connection. Or if it's not an actual divorce, this is, I mean, this could even be back to childhood if you grew up in an unstable environment or saw loss or people leave. Yeah, that can create a desire to want to hold connections, a feeling like you need to have people in your life even if they're toxic, and I guess an inability to let go. Or like if they walk away. Hold on. What is this? Yeah. Like if they walk away, you lose control over the situation or something, but I don't know exactly what this is. Hold on. True love and finances and career here. If this isn't meeting someone in the career field, then this is, it's like taking care of your finances and career, which you just talked about a little bit, I think, right? Wanting to work on those lyrics, then it's like it, focusing on yourself draws this in, on healing. Hold on just a second. True love. Yeah, something about healing here. That's what they're talking about. Just having the discipline to get yourself back on track, even if it's just in small steps, and getting yourself out there more. Pay attention to the red flags. Give your relationship a chance. So as far as the listening thing goes, it's not just about listening to what these other people have to say, but I feel like there's a reference back to the whole like don't complain, don't whine thing. Of course those things are important. Whatever happened is important. It happened, but they're saying to focus on the positives of the future with these healthier connections. Okay, anything else? Can I get a few on this love card that came out? Playfulness. There's a lighthearted energy here. There's joy and happiness and play to recapture romance. Allow your inner youthful spirit of love to shine. And I mentioned that inner child healing. Just focus on, I know it can be easier said than done, but yes, less focus on the things and the people that are not important, more focus on those that are, or building yourself and your tasks, your career, whatever it is that you're working on, projects, so that you can, and you have space to focus on and align with the right ones. I feel like this will shift naturally. Typically does. Chemistry. Yeah, because when you're not dwelling on those old cycles, you're less in or around that energy, and you're more in this upbeat, higher vibrational energy, playfulness, lighthearted energy, and that draws in chemistry, the people, soul family, friends, romance as well for some. But in this case, oh look, it's safe for you to love. There it is. Romance as well. Make the effort. And not just in a connection. You don't have to try to impress people, but make the effort within yourself, or do it for you. And you'll find people that match that energy. Or they'll find you, or both. Religious factors here. Getting to know each other. Heart-to-heart conversation. This doesn't have to be a bad thing. This could be that you share the same spiritual belief system, or maybe you don't, but there's communication happening, or that will happen here. Flirt. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. So focus and don't isolate yourself from the right people, or at least getting yourself out there to connect with the right ones. Just be mindful of that prior energy so that you don't go back to past people or people who also embody that energy, you know? Okay, I'm going to cap that right there. I hope that helps. I'm really proud of everybody. That's the first time in a long time I've done readings like that for anybody here, so thanks for that. See, I'm just getting back into my stuff too. Like I said, I had to put my own stuff on hold to deal with abuse and stuff for years. So what was my question? Oh no, I wanted to ask the cards about love, the love card that came out earlier, and then also the communication. I guess we can pull that one too. You're right. Just to double check. Can I get some extras on that communication clarification? Yeah, it's just about, we already broke that down. Mostly I got it intuitively, like the bit about like building new connections by talking about your projects and collaborations and the positive things, right? Building new connections instead of dwelling and mulling over those old cycles and those old toxic people. And of course, there can be a time and a place for that, because it happened. It's part of your story. It happened. But those people are not important. Certainly not towards your future. Those situations, they're not important because you're overcoming those, or you overcame those, and it's the future that you want to focus on and build in a positive way with these more positive people as you shift into this yourself. So reevaluate, change your perspective, or quit. This could just be about dealing with these other people too. But in the meantime, while you're doing this, eating healthier things. And again, sometimes for some people, it's not so much about what can you cut out, although that is important for some people. It's about what can you add in. Like if people cut out everything they think is not good for them in their diet or lifestyle, they're more likely to fail. They're more likely to fall back, and even not relapse is the word, but kind of like they can go back. Maybe they won't eat sugar for 3 weeks or 3 months, and then all of a sudden they just can't stop. They binge, or they do something like that. Yeah, the wind, I bet. There it is. Picked up out of nowhere all of a sudden. And I just felt that in my chest too. I got this weird anxiety. And did you hear me swallow in my throat there? Yep. And I felt it in my stomach. Somebody says, what about the swallow? It's an anxiety response to that deeper swallow. Now, I definitely emphasized it there, but this really deep swallow in the base of your throat, like right where the collarbones meet at the bottom of your neck, that is a natural, it's the body trying to spit out anxiety in a sense. And so I felt that. And then you mentioned the wind, so I would say that probably accurate. In fact, it is. I know it is. So anyway, if you eat a box of Twinkies, it's dead energy. It's just sugar and processed trash pretty much on a shelf. There's no living life force in there. But if you eat healthy protein, if you eat, more importantly and specifically, vegetables, like even protein can be nuts and things like that, but vegetables, add fresh fruits into your diet, etc., you're going to be charging yourself with the higher vibrational energy that's coming from these plants. Like, you literally are what you eat. Whatever you eat, your body takes and breaks down and processes, and then within the next few weeks, it makes brand new cells out of it. So you are what you eat. It's not just a saying. There's another thing. Yes, focus more on like adding in fruits and vegetables versus maybe trying to cut everything out all at once. If there is a risk of you, it's just not sustainable for some people. And I'm not ever going to judge for that. I'm just giving potential solutions. Another thing to remember is to try to, sometimes there are some people in the world who count calories. They feel like they need to. It works for them. And I'm not judging those people. There are whole programs that do that. I like, what is it, like Weight Watchers, don't they do that? I'm pretty sure they do. I don't do anything like that. I don't know about those programs other than little commercials here and there that pop up, but I'm pretty sure that's one. And that doesn't work for some people. If you try to count every calorie and thing that you put in, it's a hassle, it's tedious, and then also people get in their head and then will just quit. It's hard. And not just hard as in like, oh, it's hard. No, it's just not a sustainable way of living for a lot of people. So in that case, if that sounds familiar, please don't compare yourself to those that it does work for. Maybe their brains are wired differently, and that's okay. I would focus more on counting colors than calories at that point, if that sounds like you. The reason I say this is because foods that are white or brown, typically speaking, those are usually processed and or have little to no nutritional value. It's green vegetables and red peppers and tomatoes and strawberries and carrots and stuff that you're going to get all of those good nutrients from, that you wouldn't in like mayonnaise, white mayonnaise, or most sauces are brown. It's usually oil and sugar, etc., etc. So count colors, not calories. Focus on, if you want a bowl of pasta, great. Can you add some tomatoes and some spinach to it, or whatever? Count colors, not calories. What can you add in, not entirely restrict yourself from. Do what works for you, as long as it's sustainable. And even if you just start somewhere, maybe it's cutting out certain, or not cutting out, but swapping certain drinks or things that are unhealthy for you for lemon water or soda for sparkling water, even just to start, or even juice or something. Be mindful of the sugars in that. But a fruit salad sounds great. Sounds like a good idea. You know what I love, actually? And I use coconut yogurt, but I love, sometimes I do it with frozen berries. I have fresh strawberries in there right now, but I love making little yogurt bowls with it. And sometimes I'll put in some granola. This one has probiotics in it. Sometimes, if I have it at night, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'll throw in a couple of chocolate chips, usually if it's at night. Dark chocolate chips. Ain't fruit sugar. No, fruit is sugar, but it's natural sugar. And it also, when you eat the whole vegetable or the fruit, you're getting the fiber and the stuff that comes with it. Juice is not, I'm not saying juice is bad. You still get the nutrients from it, but it is just straight sugar. And so some people have to be mindful of that. You still want a balanced diet, right? So somebody says, what's the difference between natural sugar and not, like in processed sugar? Your body just doesn't recognize or process it the same way. And like white sugar, highly addictive, but your body won't and can't get addicted to Like, you're not going to get addicted from the sugar in a strawberry or something, you know what I mean? But white sugar, molecularly speaking, is about a molecule away from the cocaine molecule. It's so similar. It's why it's just so highly addictive. It's one of the most addictive substances, actually. It's up there with cocaine. Isn't that wild? It's so close. The brain picks it up so close. That's why they're both so addictive. You get asking questions like a kid. No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no... Normally I say there's no stupid question, or there's no, what is it? There's no stupid question, just one you don't ask. No, when these criminals get caught being criminal and they ask, like, how did that happen, or why did I do that? I'm like, because you're selfish, because you thought you wouldn't get caught. That's a stupid question. We all know the answer to that. No, this is a different story. Especially when it comes to self-growth and application. No, questions are good. It means you're seeking answers, potential adjustment and change if necessary. No, my daughter and I started talking about, she'd always ask questions, often why, very curious, air sign like her mom, very smart. And so she'd be 3 years old and we'd be talking about the stars and the universe, and she'd ask me about certain things, and the answers would often eventually lead into things like quantum physics. She was asking me science questions at 3 years old. So I don't mind that. I love that. Now, sometimes kids just ask why because it's just a question, but a lot of times kids really are curious, and I know people brush those things off. They brush the questions off because they do think a kid's just asking why for no reason, when they really were just curious. They were trying to learn. And frankly, I've been that person before. I've been that child before. I remember asking my mother questions when I was a 15-year-old about some things that my brain started to kick up about my biological father, about the abuse I experienced as a child, because it was coming up. I was ready to process it at that point. And she said, well, I guess I'll tell you when you're 18. But my brain, healing is not linear. I do know what you mean. Got you. Healing is not linear. And so by the time 3 years later, when I was 18, my brain was not in that space. It was not asking those questions. That thought process period had long since come and gone. And if I did figure out the answer to my question. I remembered it in retrospect and realized it later. But the questions that I was asking, had she given me the answers that I eventually discovered on my own at like 21 to 22 after being horribly abused, yeah, well, they would have prevented me from dealing with that person who put me in that position, because the questions I was asking about my childhood, well, basically I picked a person who treated me like the people who abused me as a kid. And if I had had the answers about my childhood the way that I'd asked, I wouldn't have fallen for that again. I wouldn't have mindlessly accepted what I had accepted in the past, because I would have known different. And I do now, but I didn't get the answers from an adult. I became that adult and then found my own. So anyway, I got you. No worries, no judgment on that. That stage of my daughter's life never bothered me. It bothered other people. But I'm here. No, actually, we're still being abused. My daughter's currently being held hostage. She's currently being kidnapped from me illegally, and it will be settled. But no, it's not been great. I just still choose to come help people regardless, because that's what I was doing before they did this, and that's not going to stop me. It's not why I started doing it. for God and myself and you. It's also for my daughter. Okay. I'm really proud of everybody. I would love to clear this energy out though. I feel it. It's so jittery. I feel it in my chest. I hear it in my voice. Yeah, we're going to pray. Oh, I start my day that way. and don't stop. Usually it's at least 3 times a day, especially when the spiritual warfare is bad. But let's shake out this energy. Light some Palo, do some Reiki. It was a good reading, guys. It was a lot. It was a lot of energy. Whew. I feel that. I know you feel it too, those jitters. But you know what I'm also picking up is these karmic people, they're quaking in their boots. They're scared, partially because their tactics didn't work. And then I'm also picking up a karmic masculine. He's trying to laugh it off, like laugh at what I'm saying right now, but he's not delusional. Maybe a touch, a skosh, but mostly he's scared, and he's doing the one that I'm picking up on. He's doing that tough guy act. Actually, I'm hearing that he's a little bit more delusional than I might have initially picked up. But he's more scared. Delusional to the point where he thinks that that will work or I'll fall for it or something, but scared to the point where he's trying to do it as a front because the truth startles him. God is always there, exactly. I'm just downing those plant. Ooh, gosh, that was a little sharp. The alcohol in that. Ooh. Not much, but enough to taste it. Yuck. Somebody said alcohol. I thought that was water. It is, but I put those tinctures in it, remember? And they're alcohol-based, not glycerin-based. I don't like glycerin, the texture, but mostly the taste makes me want to throw up. It's like gooey and it's like soap in your mouth, but it's really sickly sweet. Ugh. Yuck. Can't stand it. I heard that. What tinctures have you had? Weed. I prefer the alcohol, even though I don't prefer the alcohol. Definitely over glycerin. Green tea. Well, fermented green tea. It's kombucha, but anyway. Speaking of nutrition, another good health booster. It's good for your gut, but that's also good for your brain and everything else, really. Probiotics and prebiotics, both are important. The prebiotics help carry the probiotics to where they need to be and protect them from decimation as much.
Oh, it's a kitty cat! What are you doing? Don't do that.
I'm so sorry. Shh. I need a bowl pack. And some yoga. I heard that somebody said yogurt? No, yoga. But to be fair, I was just talking about coconut yogurt, so that's fair. Not off base. Oh, ew, ew. Okay. I just got a vision of this mortician YouTube account, and I'm not upset about this particular account. Yeah, my stomach just dropped. But the person who subscribes to them stalks me. Yeah, okay, let's finish that up then. And so obviously that energy's coming back around. This is a public satanic worshiper and a active stalker. Like, I blocked her and she still follows me from account to account or makes new ones. Claims to be a nurse, but also bullies the crap out of people. Hi, baby. Somebody says, did you report her? Don't worry, I did. To who? Every place relevant. The police, the board of nurses, Child Protective Services. For starters, the place that she claims she works. Don't try me. I'll put you right in your place. Stay in your lane, stay out of my face, and we won't have a problem. I love my people. You know, I'll ride for my people, but those are not my people. Yeah, that is obsessed. I think you did. There is sovereignty Reiki coming through. Speaking of regal and imperial. I'm picking up a split energy. One side of the karmic collective is like, I'm never gonna do that again. Like, they know they've been spanked. Spiritually speaking, legally speaking, they're done. Cooked like Thanksgiving turkeys. But there's this other one that's just either, I don't know what exactly their issue is. Delusional, sociopathic, out of their freaking heads. And they do not like the truth that I'm speaking. And they're trying to gather themselves in a group. Well, she's not gonna like this, so I'm gonna retaliate, plot on her for telling the truth. It's that energy. So they just don't want to give it up. Heads up, divine masculine. Some of these losers are still being losers. He says, you mean like one, like the Taurus karmic male who's been after you? Yeah, that one in particular also. Speaking of the bull, the main toxic, abusive, you mentioned you keep seeing bulls whenever you notice that there's spell work being thrown at you, black magic being thrown at you. The main person who's been targeting me and recruiting other people against me is a Taurus, which is the sign of the bull in the zodiac. I call him Taurus the bully. Now, there's nothing wrong with Tauruses. I love high vibrational Tauruses. They like the good food, music, good vibes. Like, I'm seeing like swimming or a pool. Like, they like the sensual or luxurious pleasures in life. But on the dark side, they want those things, but they're willing to do grimy, greedy, selfish, abusive things to get them. They're stubborn. They'll fight you on a point, even if they're wrong, just because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. It's that type of toxicity. But it's not about the sign. It's about whether or not that particular sign is toxic or mature. And in this case, these particular people are toxic and immature. Okay. So don't let some toxic person, yes, good vibes. And definitely go wash this off. In fact, I'm about to go run through another shower or bath. I would call that a spiritual bath. I'm already showered. I showered today, this morning. But I knew I would probably need to chill out afterwards. So it's that energy. And you know what's funny? As I knew this was going to be a problem this week. Normally I don't eat meat. Often I don't eat meat. In fact, look, I've got more tofu in here than anything else. Tofu, hold on. Not even just tofu, hold on. edamame. I also have tons of edamame in the freezer. Tofu. This one is not even tofu. This one is fava beans. Right? But I did pick up some steak this week. I knew I would need to. And you know what else I have in here? In the freezer? Some seafood. Because the other person that he had been doing this with for so long, and that I actually had to address this morning, is a water sign. And so when this toxic Taurus and water sign, bully and fish, crabby, karmic couple, even though they were always up and down and broken up and not together and are divorced last I knew, after trying to pretend like they were happily married for the gram. Embarrassing for them. Often I'm called to, while these energy vampires have been trying to suck me dry, have some surf and turf, because it's only fair. Call your energy back. Definitely wash off theirs. I hope you enjoy your shower or your bath. I hope you have good vibes. Maybe put on some music. Do something nice for yourself. I saw a candle. If you're using candles, be careful. Don't put them around anything that's dangerous. Understand that cats can knock them off, and be mindful, guys. Please. Take good care of yourselves. God first, always. One love. Stay lifted. I'm going to give just a few more minutes to do a little bit more energy clearing. $183.22. Baby, I got you, boo-boo. Love you. Okay. Divine timelines. Everything meant for you is being put into place behind the scenes in the subtle realms. This is why it's important to stay focused and just keep shifting up into those positive goals and connections. Soul service. The soul lights up through service. Listen to your heart and hold space for those who need compassion. Isn't that from Phineas and Ferb? That's why I'm here. Like I said, no matter what they did, that's why I still kept coming. I think they thought if they damaged my business, I would just stop coming here, but it was never about any of that for me. It was always about people, so that no. You can't take my motive. You can try to F my money up all you want, and they did. But stealing, filing wire fraud to have it funneled out of my bank account before it could even properly clear. Aphrodite, but that's not why I did it. But that wasn't going to stop me from coming to keep helping people. Crazy. Your soul is multifaceted. Release anything or everything that puts you into a box feeling limited. Speaking of kitties and butterflies. Yep. Zadkiel, violet, amethyst, flame. Awaken what has been dormant for so long. This is also about your dreams and your hobbies and your passions. the rose here. Also, we talked about Joan of Arc, but Empress Josephine was known as the Rose Queen. She was, look, the roses. She was the rose cultivator. Wow, rose child, look. This also kind of looks like Mother Teresa. Also, Freya, Tears of Gold. Yeah, the gold. Almost looks like angel wings over here too. But she was the rose cultivator of her time, and I have a really interesting story to tell you about that. Now, during this era, we talked about the French and the English, right? French gatehouse, French town. Loire River here. So the English were here, or they stormed the gatehouse because they wanted to take over France in this Norman village. And France, there was a gate or a bridge over the river, and France blew it up so that the English couldn't take their armies and cavalries and weapons over to attack the village. Now, they couldn't get food and resources again back over, but the English also couldn't come over and overthrow them. So it was a loss they were willing to take, and they managed to find ways to get resources and supplies over the river by boat instead. 187.22, so very tactile and very creative. Strategist, astute. But there's reference here in the crossover of the Napoleonic War, being that Joan and Josephine were both of French descent. So you had, they're so mad about this. Why are you so mad? Karmics says, because there's nothing that we can do to stop you now. I hear you know who you are, and it's all over for us. You know how and why everything plays out, and they're, you know before you, crazy. Panicking, they're panicking. They're spooked. Can't get one over. No. Why did you try? Why did you feel so compelled to try? Is a better question. Because you lack control. You lack self-control and discipline and dignity, which is why you feel like you need to control others or other environments, because you feel like that's the only way you can feel like you're in control of something. But if you had any self-control, you wouldn't feel compelled to control others just to feel like you could control something, because you'd be controlling yourself. So maybe work on that. Karmic. Anyway. So Josephine loved roses. She had this beautiful garden, Malmaison. And even though there was a war going on between the French and the British, Napoleon would send his battleships, his big sailboats, warships out. And anytime they would cross ships that had roses or rose seeds, they would be collected. And he also, this is the super interesting fact, so he would send his battleships to go collect roses for his empress during an active war. I would say that that's love. But the big one was that there was an active war between France and England, meaning that French battleships were not permitted to go into, this is not the river anymore, English harbors. 190.22. But Napoleon, Sir Napoleon, made an agreement with the royals in England so that even though there was an active war going on, even though the two countries were at war with each other. The English gave Napoleon permission to send one ship into this specific English harbor where this very prestigious botanical garden resided, so that samples of those roses could be collected for Josephine. He was given permission, even though the English and the French were fighting, he was given permission from the English to send his ship in to collect roses for his wife. Fun facts of history. Anyway, I always found that interesting. Kind of wild, kind of cute, kind of funny, but interesting nonetheless. He says, you forgot brazen. Yeah, that was pretty bold, wasn't it? I know we're fighting, king and queen, but can I go collect roses for my wife? Can I come to the harbor? I know I'm not supposed to be there, but just this one harbor. I just want to go to your rose gardens. I just want some flowers for my wife. We can go back to war after, just don't worry. Let me get these roses. The fuck? Divine Masculine says, yeah, it is pretty funny when you put it like that. Yes! Also kind of badass, but definitely wild. Cheers. He says, in a good way or a bad way? Oh, no. I got a thing for the wild ones, and they like me, too. Got him wide open. Got a 45 on him, and he's pushing about 102. Always smoking something. He's not worried about nothing, 'cause he ain't got nothing to lose. Hi, babies. Not like freaks, I don't care if you're a wild one. There's Serenity Reiki coming through. This will help kind of balance things out a bit. Also, if you need potassium in your system, be mindful of that, guys. Just pick that up on medical mediumship. And 193.22. It's not for everybody. Also, let's do some shields. I'll come back at some point to do some cord cutting if necessary. Definitely some chakra work, but I feel like I need to give this time to integrate first. So I'll be back at some point for the rest. Whoa. Okay. Thank you. Hi, my love. Hi, baby. I know, you want to spend some time? Mommy needs to do some yoga. Take a bath and do some yoga with me? Is that what you want to do? You want to hang out? You can hang out with Mom. I heard that. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with myself. I heard that. Divine Masculine says, was that your bones? Yes. You heard that?
What are you sweet little babies? I love you. The baby.
boo.
He's such a cutie pie. Thanks for those purrs. They're so nice. He's a good purse. He's a baby.
Did you know that cats' purrs are healing to humans? The Egyptians knew that. They knew that. They knew that. Yeah. Somebody says how? Because they resonate on the theta healing wave energy, and that is one of the deep healing frequencies in the brain, which is why people, especially people who are cat people, often find their purrs very soothing. There actually is a regulatory vibration that comes through and from it.
They're babies. Just good babies.
I don't know why people are mean to animals. You need to stop. Get grips. Don't drop them. I'm going to drop the mic right there. Please remember to pray. Do no harm. Take no crap. And I will catch you on the next one. Blessings and namaste. Toodles.